Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new edition that I'm doing recently. Have you seen? This is about my third or fourth book review that I'm doing live. I'm actually live on YouTube right now. I'm live on Facebook and Amazon. And I want you to come to Amazon because we have a special treat for you. I am interviewing the Eunice Pierre-Louis on her book, Dying for I Do. This is going to be the chat of all chats for authors and books on Amazon. And I really want you to tune in for this. So if you're watching this, what I want you to do is look below. Go to bit.ly/Galyn. That's bit.ly/GALYN. And I want you to get over here to Amazon Live and check out this interview. Why? Because she's going to be talking about her book, Dying for I Do. And you will be able to get the book directly below this video on Amazon. So if you're watching on YouTube and you're watching on Facebook, and you're like, oh, I want this book. I'm loving what she's saying. How can I get access to this book? I highly recommend that you come on over to Amazon.com. If you want to find us, you can go to Amazon.com. Look at the very top on the menu and look for live streams. When you click on live streams, you're going to see this video. You're going to see me interviewing Eunice. But if you want a shortcut, go to bit.ly/Galyn. That's bit.ly/GALYN. And you get to see this video live and you get to cop the book right below this interview. So today we're talking with Eunice Pierre-Louis on Dying for I Do. Oh my gosh, Eunice is an avid reader and longtime writer. Her first book, Dying for I Do, tackles issues of self-love, domestic violence, and societal pressures. She is also a speaker and confidence mindset coach, which makes her the perfect person to write a book like this. She currently lives in Atlanta. Hey, girl, I'm in Griffin, Georgia, so we're practically neighbors with her and family. Welcome, Eunice. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. So let's dive right into it. So why do you, in your opinion, are people dying for I do, especially women? I mean, why are we dying to say I do? What is the pressure? What is the hurry? What is it about it?
I really think it's just societal pressures. It's like no one says to a man at a certain age, when you gonna get married? Why you ain't got no kids? But women will hear that. You hear it like at absurdly young ages. I've heard people ask like 25-year-olds that and 30-year-olds that. You ain't married yet? I mean, can I get my life together? Can I figure out what I'm bringing to a marriage before I just get there? What are we doing? But it's perfectly acceptable for perfect strangers to say to you as a woman, what you mean you ain't married? How old are you? It's none of your business.
Wow.
And I think we all get that pressure from all sides. It's your auntie, your grandma, the pastor at the church. It's just everybody thinks it's okay to say that. So you feel this pressure like, hey, something wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. Take your time. Do it how you want to do it. It's fine.
Yeah, I get it. So for those of you who are just tuning in, let me show you her book is right. You can get it on Amazon.com, Dying for I Do, Lessons Learned While Choosing Self-Love Over Matrimony. I absolutely love it. Now, this book for women who choose themselves when others told them they shouldn't. You're in a relationship that everyone thinks is #goals, but you know that's not true. You know the love you want and desire, and this isn't it. You desperately want to leave, but you lack the courage because you don't want to disappoint your family or let your own self down. If you found yourself trapped in a relationship that scares you, hello, this book is for you. Whether you've been here before or going through it currently, you need to know that you can leave. You can choose to create a new life, a new path. Isn't easy to chart, but it can be done. In Dying for I Do, Eunice Pierre-Louis shares her own survival experiences while providing a blueprint of how she escaped a marriage that was doomed to fail before it started, with the desire to help women who are looking for a way out of a bad relationship when it seems there isn't one. She details the signs and red flags that led her to choose herself over an unhappy situation In this book, you will learn what to look for in an abusive relationship, learn the technique narcissists use, receive keys to choose yourself first, take charge of your life and your future because you're worth it. This seems like a must-have before you get in a relationship. I know you're talking about how to escape, but I think this is something you need to have before you even think of saying I do. While you're in that long-term relationship, you're thinking, when is he going to propose? Would you agree that this would be a good book to have?
I actually think it's a good book to have before you get to the I do stage. And I think it's a good book to have even if you're like, I feel like something's off, I'm not sure what it is, I think I'm happy, still pick it up. Because there are some things that are detailed in there that you're like, yo, I didn't think about it that way. Because it's a lot of stuff that while I was going through it, it was like, this is normal. And then afterwards you look back and you're like, no, it's not. That's not okay. So I think even if you're in the long-term relationship or it's a new relationship and you have some hesitation, read the book.
So can you talk to us about one of your experiences of survival?
Yes. So in the book, we talk about, I actually go into a couple of things and I try not to make it too specific and personal and just, these are specifically things that could only happen to me. They're situations that could happen to anybody. And one of the things I talk about is him being disrespectful at my job and coming and yelling and screaming at my job to the point where someone else who worked with me had to come and stand next to me like, do you not know she got people here? Like, what are you doing? You know you in public, sir. Like, what we doing right now? Like, somebody else had to come stand next to me like,
wow,
do we need to go there or what are we doing? And I feel like that's one of those at the point where the person no longer cares about keeping up the public persona and they no longer care about keeping up, I guess, the facade of the perfect relationship.
Yeah.
Just run. You're in danger. Run. They don't even care now about bruises and nothing. They don't care. They're just going to keep escalating. Just run.
Now, was this like the first incident that happened, or this was one of many? Do you remember one of the first instances that you probably didn't realize was a red flag, but you now know, like, this is the first time I should have said, let me go?
Yep. In the book, I actually detailed the very first incident, and the very first incident wasn't towards me. They didn't get physical, but they were trying to be physical with another woman, like a family member. And I remember being like, are you going after her? Wait. And then his family and everybody's like, oh, it's not like that. You know, he's just really sweet. He gets really angry sometimes. And you just have to like deal with it because and I'm like, I don't have to deal with nothing because that's crazy. But again, when other people are saying stuff and you're not trusting your own gut instinct, you stay when you shouldn't. So I go into more detail about exactly what he did in the book, but I was very like frightened and did that just happen? And then in hindsight, it's like, girl, you stayed after that?
Wow. I'm going to show everyone a quick accessory that I like to have with when I have in a book. So this book is available on paperback, but if you would read it on your Kindle or your Fire, your iPad, your tablet, I like this little accessory. It's a little pillow for your tablet. It's the One Tail Pillow Pad Multi-Angel Soft Tablet, and it comes in blue. It comes in red and black, and I like it because it's a cute little accessory that goes on with it. It's good if you have like a cookbook, but if you're reading this book while you're cooking, while you're in bed, while you're on the couch, I think is a good accessory to have. And you can have your iPad or your iPhone on the side. So that's a good little accessory I like to want to throw in there for those of you who like reading on your iPad or your tablet. So tell me, Eunice, what are some red flags? Do you talk about specific red flags in the book that people can be aware of?
I do talk about specific red flags in the book. One of the red flags that I talk about is when they're trying to isolate you from your family and your friends, where they start trying to control your time, who you're talking to, how long you spend talking to them, what you say to them. And at first, in the beginning, a lot of times it seems like it's sweet. oh, you want to spend more time with me. You want me to spend more time with you and not so much time with my family, or not so much time with, other people. Oh, it's the honeymoon phase. We're spending a lot of time together. But that's not what it is. It's not the regular, this is new and we're spending time together. It's, I don't want you to have this support system so that when things do start happening, they're not as likely to be there for you because you've been pulling away from them. It's, I'm going to make it uncomfortable for you to talk to people who you talk to all the time, so that when you do have an issue, you know how it is. When something's wrong and you haven't talked to somebody in a while, you don't want to go to them with negativity. It's like, I ain't talked to you in a minute. I don't really want to come be like, girl, I'm going through. You're going to want to be like, oh, things are great. Things are fine. I'm happy. Thank you so much. How are you? You keep it very surface when you haven't talked to people in a long time. So that's part of one of the red flags that abusers use, is to get you separated from your support system that would have your back and make it easy for you to leave.
Awesome. So one of the things I want to get very clear before we go any further, anyone who's tuning in, please let them know that you are not anti-marriage. Like, you're not, this book is not like, okay, don't ever get married. Like, this is not the path you want to take, but you're just letting them know that, this is not the end all to be all. You can love yourself first. You need to love yourself first. And, if you're in it, even if you're already in it, like, you're not stuck. I know we hate to talk about divorce, but if you're not happy, if it's not healthy, if it's not safe for you, there's a way out. And you talk about that in the book, right?
Correct. And I'm not anti-marriage. And I chose to not say toxic matrimony, because I feel like people think there's only one bad way that marriage could be bad. Oh, it's one thing that's bad. There are lots of things that can make your relationship bad. As far as getting married just to get married, that's my issue. Don't get married to do the, that famous, I'm married now line from Color Purple. We all know that line. She was just so happy to say, look, I got a ring. A lot of us are like that. You're just like, I did it. I did the thing. And it's like, being married is not this huge accomplishment. Like, even some people will be like, because, I'm a wife. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. But that's not somehow, you're not better than other people because you're a wife. And you're not worse than someone else because you're single. I just want it to not be chasing marriage just for the sake of being married.
Right.
Find your person. Be married. Build your happy families. Have your children in happy, healthy homes. Be emotionally happy. Be financially stable. Like, build and grow with your family. I'm down for all of those things. I just don't want anybody to rush to get married, to say they're married and then be miserable. And part of the reason I called the book Dying for I Do is because, yes, it's, you're dying to be married. You want to be married. But there are too many stories that we hear about women being killed at the hands of their spouses and intimate partners. And a lot of times we're afraid to leave because we don't want people to say, oh, but look how they were so perfect and now they're not perfect no more. She mad at him. Great. You're going to talk about me, but I'm going to live. I'm going to survive. I will live to talk about it.
Oh my goodness. So, Dying for I Do, Lessons Learned While Choosing Self-Love Over Matrimony. I want to tell you, if you are watching us right now on YouTube Live or you're watching us on Facebook Live, I highly, highly recommend that you follow us on Amazon. Go to Amazon.com, look at the top menu that says live streams. And you will see this live video where you can actually check out the book yourself and purchase it on Amazon.com. This is a very, very good book. I highly recommend it. And we're here with the author, Eunice Pierre-Louis. You can ask her any question that you have about marriage, that you have about relationships. Are you thinking about getting married? Have you just gotten engaged? And are you having any thoughts? We're not here to talk you out of it, but if you have any thoughts, Eunice is here to give you some of the signs to let you know, okay, this may be a red flag of something that you're getting into that you want to maybe think twice about. So again, this is not anti-marriage. We know there are a lot of people dying for I do, but sometimes when you dying for I do, that leads to a lot of people dying because they do not realize the warning signs of an abusive relationship. So what do you want people who read this book to walk away from, especially those who may be in some type of domestic violence situation?
So sorry about that. I really want people to just walk away with you're worthy by yourself. Like you are a whole, complete, awesome, amazing person. Like me not knowing you, not knowing nothing about you, you are here for a reason. You are a child of God. There's no person that's going to add to you and make it like, you know what, now you're worth it. You worth it by yourself. Anything else is extra. So if the relationship is abusive, if the relationship is bad, that's not your story. That ain't it. There's more for you. You don't have to stay and suffer. You can leave.
Exactly. I want to introduce y'all to another accessory. I like this accessory. Let me add it to the screen. This is a book light for those of you who like reading in the dark. If you can see this picture, this is how it clamps onto the top of the book. So you like reading in your bed and you have a partner with you, your husband with you, especially that husband, you got the side eye like, do I still need to be here? So while he sleep, you want to read this book and look for some red flags. I highly recommend getting this book light. It's a blue light blocking amber clip-on reading light by Huga. It's absolutely amazing for those of you who like to read at night when the lights are off. This gives you a low light, amber light feeling to just the clamp right at the top of your book. So I just want to share that with you. But we're talking about, for those of you just tuning in, Dying for I Do, lessons learned while choosing self-love over matrimony. So a couple last questions I have for you, Eunice. What is your idea of self-love and how important is it to have before you start the relationship?
I think first of all, people have this twisted thing that self-love is like this bad thing, like it's selfish and it's just terrible and you're not being humble. I think self-love is the most important thing. At the end of the day, even when you get on a plane and they tell you you have to put your mask on first before you put it on your child, you can't take care of other people unless you take care of yourself. You don't see the value in yourself, you won't properly take care of yourself, and you can't give what you're supposed to give. So self-love to me is the most important thing. When you come into a relationship and you love yourself and you have your ideas of what that relationship should be, you don't negotiate on things like disrespect. You don't negotiate on things like physical violence. You don't negotiate on things like emotional abuse. You don't negotiate on those things because you understand your value. I always use the example of hair because when people say, well, how do you talk to young girls about their value? I always say, if you go up to most young girls, 9 times out of 10, especially with this IG age, and you say, hey, I have this hair, I got it from wherever. They can tell you the value of that hair. They can tell you why it costs so much. They can tell you the kind of weft. They can tell you it's Peruvian, 38-inch, virgin, whatever. They can tell you all those things. And then when you tell them, but it's $250, they can be like, yes, because it's this, this, and this. So you're paying for the virgin lace untouched. They understand that. But then when you say to them, well, what's the value in you that a person shouldn't treat you bad? It's like, well, but sometimes but there's value in you. You understand that your virgin, Remy, whatever hair is valuable and should be treated away. But then when I say you should be treated away, it's like, should I be? So I feel like if we instill that value from jump and they understand the self-love, then you don't have to explain they shouldn't hit you because they'll understand I'm valuable and you should be hitting me.
Yes, that's so true because especially women, we're so used to handling everything and multitasking and being the woman for everything except for ourselves. And we tend to put ourselves last. So self-care is not about being selfish, but it is about having self-preservation, and treating yourself the same way you would treat your business, your family, your church, your job, your community.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. You are your baby as well. We love taking care of our babies, but you are your first baby, your first priority. So I absolutely love it. So Eunice, before you go, who was this book written for? I know it's about women dying for I do, but what type of woman did you have in mind when you wrote this book?
So when I wrote this book, honestly, it took 5 years to get the book out. It took me 2 years to even admit the situation was what it was. Like I went through the wedding and everything. We never signed any paperwork, but I went through all the motions and I never could admit out loud that I was not a wife. I was not married. We didn't move forward. Like I could not admit that for like 2 years. So the book, when I finally got it written, is for anybody who was like me at 30, looking like, oh my God, it's my last chance to be happy. It's for anybody like that. It's for all those people who are going through what I was going through at the time. Like my wedding, I was supposed to be 30 years old and married, 32 with a kid, 34 with my next kid, 35 in my house. Like it was a whole plan, but it's like, that's not life. Sometimes it
Yeah,
is, sometimes it is, but don't push things to fit this timeline rather than fit what it's supposed to be. Like
exactly.
there's a reason and a season. Don't push things because you feel like there's a reason for it, but that might not be the season. So
Right.
that book was really, it's for me, but it's for people who I've recognized over the years when I talk to them and they're like, I went through that. I felt so bad for leaving, or I went through that and everybody told me I was crazy. So I want them to have a second voice outside of themselves to say, you're doing the right thing. This is
Right.
for the
And
women who are like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, but I don't know. I will be your cheerleader. You're doing the right thing.
I love it. So what's the flow? That kind of answered my question. What's the flow of the book? Is it a page turner? Is it a tearjerker? We're gonna have some tissues, or is it inspiration?
I would say it's a page turner. I tried not to write it. It's not super long. I didn't write 45 pages, mostly because I know how, like, especially when you're in a situation, if you put too much, it feels like you're being attacked. Even
Mm-hmm.
when I was writing it, I was like, I don't want to write that because they're gonna be like, oh, she's stupid. He did what? You stayed. So it's like you don't want to put too much, but at the same time, I feel like you have to have, like you said, the red flags. You have to have the exit strategy. You have to have the how do I leave? And a lot of what I put in there that I was just like, hey, I'm just going through it. In hindsight, people are like, girl, I was reading like, he did what? And then what happened? And I'm like, oh, I guess it could be like that. But I'm writing it from the point of view of these are the things that happened. And then not realizing that you were living in some toxic ish, girl. That was bad. So on
Yeah.
paper, when you're reading it, you just keep reading like, and you stayed, you're still there.
Yeah.
You're still there. So yeah, I'd say it's page turner.
Oh, okay, awesome. So where can we find you online, Eunice?
Online, you can find me on IG at the Eunice PL Eunice PL. I was gonna say .com at the Eunice PL, and then you can find I have planners and other books and t-shirts you can buy at authoreunicepl.com. I also do mindset coaching just to help you get your head right, get you situated, and sometimes, like I said, you just need an outside person to say, hey, you're okay and you're right, and I can help with that. So it's authoreunicepl.com.
Great. And you can find her book, Dying for I Do, Lessons Learned While Choosing Self-Love Over Matrimony. You can find that book on Amazon.com. We're actually live streaming directly from Amazon right now. But if you're watching us from YouTube or Facebook, please go to Amazon and check out the replay of this live stream where you can get this book as well as the accessories we mentioned, because her book is available on paperback. So if you like reading at nighttime in the bed when the lights are off, we talked about a great accessory where you can read the paperback version of her book in your bed. Also, her book is available on Kindle. So we talked about a great accessory as well to read her book on your tablet or your iPad. So get to Amazon so you can check out those accessories along with her book. I want to thank you again, Eunice, for being on this platform and sharing your story and your book with my audience. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. And we're going to have to connect because I did not realize that you were in Atlanta. You are a neighbor of mine. So we
I am
definitely
here.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, happy holidays for those of you. Happy Kwanzaa and everything. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. See you soon.